I was like, so are we gonna do this today? You, me, here in this club? Are we gonna square up? Like, should I call the popo? Like, what should I do for you, sis? I honestly feel like everything I complained about in the last review happened in this episode. And I just want to say this is probably the best episode of the series so far. I don't know how the finale is going to go down, but what I do know is that this was great. And I'd also like to make another point. If I make a critique about an episode, it doesn't mean I don't like the show. I found that one episode boring. That's all it was. It was a slow episode in my opinion. Unlike this episode where we got range, we got to see different characters, we got to know more characters in depth. That's what I'm talking about, and that's the stuff that I sort of cling to. So let's just get into this episode because chef's kiss. What is the context? The context is Arabella and Terry are at one of Kwame's workout classes, and Terry gets news that she got the role of whatever she was auditioning for, and everybody is happy. Everyone is shook. I was happy. I'm like, yes, Terry, this is your time. This is your birth. Your birth is my birth too, Terry. I am happy for you. Let's give her 2 claps. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to talk about is Kwame and Tyrone, I guess. So Kwame is telling Terry and Ben about how his relationship with Tyrone is going. So basically he's saying that they just go out a lot and go to like certain places, and he's just a really nice guy. And in my head I'm like, ooh, that sounds fantastic. I wish I could meet a nice guy. But I'm like, what exactly are you complaining about? The best way Kwame was able to sum up who Tyrone was is he was telling Ben that he's basically like you. He's just a general nice guy. And then Kwame proceeds to ask Ben this question. He says, do you ever feel like someone's right for you, but you're not yet the person you need to be to also be right for that person? And then Ben is like, yeah, I know what you mean. And in my head, I'm like, Ben, who are you talking about? We're not going to get into this. I feel like I'll come back to this one day, maybe. But I don't know. I feel like Ben has some secrets, but I'm not gonna get into it. And then Ben is like, you know what? Do whatever you need to do to become the right person. And I was like, yes, Ben, drop those words of wisdom, but I'm reading into your words, Ben. I'm watching you. I'm watching you. The only thing that I could really take away from this is that Kwame doesn't believe like he's worthy enough to be with someone as nice as Tyrone. And what he's discussing with Terry and Ben is essentially what a relationship is. Like, a relationship is work, my guy. And that's understandable because this is something he's never had to deal with. We can all see that Kwame is confused and he's sort of trying to figure out like the footing of what a relationship is, but he likes it. We know he likes it, so we're happy for Kwame. Okay, so now we're going to talk about Bella and the book. So at the beginning of the episode, we see that Bella is preoccupied reading this book, and she is not talking to anyone until she finishes it. So Ben gives Arabella a book to read, and it sort of gives her inspiration. It's called Sundial by DELLA something something something. Just know Della and Bella. Della and Bella. Do y'all realize Ben usually knows what Bella likes? Ben usually knows the words to tell Bella. Ben is usually there, but let's ignore that. Let's ignore that. So Bella finds it so inspiring and interesting that they're both Londoners, they're both new writers, and they're both published under Henny House. Yet they're on a different spectrum of success and failure. And Ben is like, since you both are at Henny House, why don't you just get a connection through Susie Henny? But then we find out. What do we find out? We find out that Bella still hasn't written her draft or whatever she has to hand in. So out of desperation, what does Bella do? She decides to reach out to Della herself personally. Personally, I think I would have blocked Bella too. I'm like, why is this girl sitting on a toilet with my book in her lap and she has some sort of like dog dish or whatever on her head? A feeding bowl. It looked like a feeding bowl. I don't know fashion. I'm sorry. I'm not up with the times, but she will be like, it's called fashion, honey. Okay, let's talk about Miss Susie Henny, because this woman, like, I can't figure out whether or not I like her, whether or not I dislike her. I feel neutral towards her because she's just like a catalyst type of character. But she's interesting. She's interesting. As a plant lady, I am like obsessed with Susie's office. In the future, I'm gonna be moving just like her. Trust me. I like stroking this one to center myself. So Susie asks Bella if she's into growing, and she believes that everyone should be planters and growers. But to be honest, we all know Susie's only interested in the growing progress of Bella. While Bella's out here trying to make jokes, trying to crack a few jokes, trying to be cute and witty, Bella has nothing to give, so Susie says, okay, I bet I'm gonna revoke your commission. Again, like I said previously in my reviews, Susie basically said, in the words of Rihanna, bitch better have my money. She's like, what? No? Okay, I'm coming for you. Time to pay your debts, boo. So the publishing agency cuts her, and so does Bella's agents. They're like, we don't want any of Susie's smoke. I'm so sorry, but you're gonna have to pay this debt all by yourself. We do not represent you anymore. And they were like, poof, gone. So now we're going to talk about Kwame and Nullifer. Apology not accepted. In this episode, we see Kwame try his best to make peace with Nullifer, since things were going pretty well until he disclosed his sexuality. I truly believe Kwame understood that he did wrong, because he even admitted to Nullifer that he was using her for an experiment, or he was actually looking for any woman to use for an experiment, and then they came across each other, but it ended up being something more. I do believe that Kwame was actually trying to be genuine, and he was hoping for true reconciliation, but guess what? In life, not everyone is going to accept our apologies. An apology you give might get rejected, and I don't think anyone should beat themselves up about their apology not being accepted. As long as you know in your heart you are being sincere, I think that's all that matters. And if the other person wants to hold on to anger and the burden that they are carrying, that's up to them. But I could truly say, once Kwame said his piece and he apologized, you sort of feel like a sense of release that comes off of him, because he's like, I said my apologies, that's the best I could do. This is no longer something I have to carry or walk around with. So next we're going to talk about Bella meeting DELLA, aka ZAIN. So the author of Sundial, DELLA, decides to reach out to Arabella and says, yeah, I can meet you for coffee or whatever, we could talk. And guess who shows up? It's ZAIN. I'm not gonna lie, ZAIN being DELLA was a whole plot twist. I thought Susie was just being a hard ass, being like, you know what, Arabella, I am done with you. I'm not giving you any more handouts. But no, Susie was being very, very secretive. And I don't know if anyone is going to agree with me, but Susie Henny is essentially a savage. And I'm not talking about a savage in a cool way, but like, she's cutthroat if you actually think about it. What we need to understand is that Susie had no intention of dropping ZAIN. Yeah, sure, he was accused of rape, but you know what? He's also a really good writer. So Susie was like, yeah, I don't think we have enough time to be waiting around for this drama to die down. So I think I'm gonna come up with a pseudonym for you, ZAIN. I'm gonna give you a pseudonym. Basically, your name is DELLA now. In my opinion, Susie said this with her whole chest, but she said it very subtle, very indirect. She basically said, I don't care about any type of solidarity. I don't care that this man harms women. I don't care that you are black. I don't care about our melanin, sis. You know why? Because that boy right there is money in my pocket. Susie Henny is a capitalist at heart. She's a capitalist to the bone, okay? She looked at ZAIN and saw money. That's all he is to her. And that could have been Arabella, maybe in the future. Maybe we'll see her come back to Susie. But that's the only difference between the two of them. Not their life experiences, not what happened to any of them. It's who can provide Susie more money. My camera died, so here I am on my laptop. Bear with me. Let's just keep this going. Okay, so next topic up for discussion. Was Terry transphobic? What did I say in my last review? I said, how come we don't know anything about Terry's life? Like, all we know is she had a threesome. That's it. Like, does she have a love life? And this episode, we see Terry shooting her shot. I wish I had that confidence. I do not. Like, when Terry slid her number, I was like, girl, goals. Hopefully one day I'll be able to move like that. But for now, my delivery is a bit subtle, non-existent, So Terry and Kai go on a lunch date, and their waiter acknowledges Kai. She basically says, thank you for what you've done. I saw what you've done on the show Flipside. And I think like anyone would, Terry's interest was piqued, and she asked, oh, who am I sitting with? Kai, not be willing to share, sort of like brushes it off and says, oh, would you like a drink? So Terry excuses herself and heads to the bathroom, obviously to do some recon to figure out who this guy is. So in the bathroom stall, Terry discovers that Kai is a trans man. Terry comes back trying to hold herself together, but you could clearly see something has changed and Kai has noticed. Okay, so now we're presented with a very interesting topic, and this is why I love this show. It poses conversations, because I don't think the show gives us a set answer, but it expects a conversation to be started. So within the show, it is established that consent is a big thing, and we've also touched on what should be revealed or not be revealed to a person you've met. And there has been discussion of what a person should or should not reveal. Now, these two things are being applied to trans people. How do we apply them? That is the question. The way I saw it was, I do believe Terry was put in a tough situation, and she was sort of made to feel like if she didn't sit down or go through it, then she was automatically transphobic. Terry was just ready to leave because she thought she was going on a date with a straight, cisgendered male. But that's not what she got. I guess for Terry to prove that she's not transphobic, she decided to stay and just finish the lunch. And I don't see any harm when just sitting down to talk to someone. It doesn't have to necessarily go anywhere, but you could give them the respect to have a conversation. So for anybody who's educated on the matter, so the interesting thing about this date was that things sort of got a bit more comfortable. They started talking. Kai called her a prude, and she had to defend herself and say, no, I'm not a prude. I've had a threesome. And then Kai starts acquiring some things and asking questions, and then it comes to a conclusion that Terry's threesome was planned. And duh, we all said it. I said it in my previous reviews. She was essentially groomed and made to think that this was something she wanted. But now the date sort of kind of got awkward because now she's thinking about it and she's like, ew. I don't know how she feels about it, but that's Terry. So in this episode, I think we can say that there seems to be a topic of reconciliation. And with Kwame, we saw that his apology was rejected. So the parallel between Kwame and Nullifer to Bella and ZAIN is that you may not be forgiven, but you may be presented with an opportunity. And the contrast between Kwame and ZAIN is that with ZAIN and Arabella, there's a partnership that is still retainable, because before they met, they were basically co-workers, or ZAIN was assigned to Arabella to help her out. So Bella has something to gain from reuniting with ZAIN. What does Nullifer have to gain from reuniting with Kwame? Nothing really. He took a really big risk in exposing himself to Arabella because Arabella publicly hates him on social media. She could have ran and said this rapist is selling books under a fake name. But I think this proves how much ZAIN is willing to risk to rectify this relationship. So I was wondering if ZAIN even apologized, but I don't think he did. But I think his act of service is the best way for him to do it. I don't even think if he apologized, Arabella would forgive him necessarily. She doesn't seem like the type to accept words, and she needs actions from people instead. Okay, so the next topic of conversation is Ben. I'm happy because we got to see a lot of him. He was there, he was in the house, he was looking after his plants, he was there for some conversation. But now I want to sort of take back what I said in my last review, because I said he was confident and he was sure of himself. But now I'm starting to question that, because I'm wondering, is Ben just a homebody, or is he just lonely? With that last scene of Ben pulling out a video about loneliness, I was wondering, has Ben been showing signs? Has he been sort of like crying for help? I was wondering, does Ben have real friends that actually want to spend time with him? Because they only seem to invite Ben to hang out, but only if it's things they want to do. I find Ben's character so interesting. And at first I was sleeping on him, but I feel like I have to make a whole video dedicated to Ben. Because I feel like there's something his character is trying to say, and we're all missing it. And maybe if I rewatch the episodes and just focus on Ben, I could find something. But I don't know. I don't know if I should do that. Okay, so now we're going to talk about sink or swim. And I think this financial rock bottom was the best thing that has happened to Arabella. She was acting like a student on a deadline when your paper is due at 12 a.m. and it is 10 p.m. And you got to get that assignment in. She'd been cut by her publishers, by her agent. She literally has nothing. So this is a do or die situation. Are you going to sink or are you going to swim? And I'm so proud my sis put in the work. She got Zane's help and she went to work day, night, didn't shower, didn't sleep, ate cereal, probably ate so much junk, but she was there zoned in, focused, and ready to go. And she was satisfied with the progress that she made, that she decided to go stake out ego death. And I feel like going through all her memories, summarizing her timeline till this very point, has sort of opened up and unblocked her memory. Which leads me into my last topic, she remembers. My heart sunk. My heart sunk, was like, that's him, that's the guy. Do you remember? Please remember. And she remembered. She remembered. So the guy walks into the club and guess who's there? The rapist. And I was like, sis, what is we gonna do? Are we gonna get up? Are we gonna post up? I was acting like I was there. I was like, let's get up. We're gonna post up. We're gonna be like, how you been? How you doing? I don't fight, but that's what I would do if I did. I was like, so are we gonna do this today? You, me, here in this club? Are we gonna square up? Like, should I call the po-po? Like, what should I do for you, sis? I was so disgusted when she was playing back her memory. I was like, how evil and how manipulative can you be just to go through with something like that? To have the thought in your head that, yeah, this girl is unconscious. She can't think straight, but that's okay. I need to rape her. I need to feel something. I need to feel pleasure. That's like selfish and disgusting. But anyways, let me not get sidetracked. So after that scene happened, I came to a conclusion. They didn't revisit the topic of Terry's threesome by accident. It had a purpose. It made me think how Arabella and Terry's situations are parallel to each other. Both women were manipulated by two men. The only difference is that Terry's situation went down more a consensual path. Even though she was groomed, even though she was conditioned, they did manipulate her, just like Arabella was manipulated, but it was more consensual. So that was just a thought. So yeah, I'm just gonna close here. Tell me what you guys thought of this episode. Like, I want to hear thoughts. I want to hear opinions. Honestly, this could have been the season finale, and I would have been content. They would have got me on a season 2 just to find out what happened. But the next episode has big shoes to fill, and I hope it doesn't disappoint. Like, I really don't know the path that this episode is gonna go down. So yeah, for the last episode, I might do a live stream like I did for Insecure again, just to make it like a little party, a little watch party, so we could all discuss and watch, give my quick thoughts, and come to a close for this series. So yeah, please talk to me down below. Ooh, I'm excited. Okay, bye.